Hey guys, welcome back to the Far Better Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Clark. This is Season 10, Episode number 12, the Battle of Armageddon, or 206 overall. We have Bradley Smith with us again. It's hard to say fast. Bradley Smith is with us again, and we're looking forward to studying this together. I'm going to define it, we'll defeat it together, and let's get started. A premillennialist commonly teach that the Battle of Armageddon will be a final, literal military conflict on Earth involving all nations. It's a global war sparked by Satan, Antichrist, and rebellious nations against Christ and his people. It's occurring at the end of the 7-year tribulation before the establishment of Christ's 1,000-year reign on Earth. It's a physical battle, centered in the Middle East, possibly involving nuclear weapons or worldwide devastation. It's a time of global holocaust, chaos, and bloodshed. It's based largely on Revelation 16:14 through 16. This theory makes Armageddon a literal war, yet Revelation is full of symbolism, not physical war descriptions. So Bradley, take it away.
I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot.
Sure.
But really, it is as simple as remembering the context of the book of Revelation. It is written to first century Christians living in Asia Minor, facing persecution at the hands of the Roman government. Revelation chapter 1, it's sent and signified, put into signs, put into symbols. Not everyone could look at it and understand. So whenever we talk about the Battle of Armageddon, we talked about this last week with the Mark of the Beast. It's almost like a Hollywood movie. You know,
Right.
I know you're a big fan of the superhero movies
Oh,
and
yeah.
things
You've
like
never
that.
seen any of them.
I've seen a couple, both against my will. But
I took you to one of them.
but this idea of this great be-all, end-all, final boss battle, if you will.
Right.
It makes for a great Hollywood script,
Absolutely.
but it's just simply not biblical. If that were true, don't you think that you would find passages throughout the Bible of God saying, hey, you need to be ready for this war. You need to be prepared for this great physical battle that's going to take place. People will look at passages in the book of Ezekiel and try to say, oh, well, this country is Russia and that country is China. It just does not make sense. It doesn't fit within the context. But rather than sensationalizing it, I always get nervous whenever someone introduces a new doctrine from the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Because the book of Revelation is not going to teach something that the rest of the New Testament doesn't teach.
Correct.
Nowhere else in the Bible do we read anything about this, final battle, for once and for all, in the Valley of Megiddo or in Armageddon to decide who wins. We don't read anything about it, so why would it now be introduced in the book of Revelation?
Right. Another symbolic, not literal passage. Armageddon is from Armageddon, the mountain of Megiddo, a place associated with decisive battles in Israel's history. Judges 5, 2 Kings 23, 29 through 30. The problem is it's not big enough to have the battle it's describing.
Exactly.
Megiddo was not known for being a massive global location and battlefield. And you think about a lot of those battles that happen in Scripture, and it's not what's being talked about. I don't want to be mean. I'm really trying. But when you really look at what Megiddo was and what it provided and what was happening, it cannot hold every individual from both sides.
What?
It's not possible.
They're going to go through a shrink ray. You didn't hear about that?
Well, that's the problem that it becomes. And this is, as we talked about, out of necessity of the 144,000, then we start getting into crazier ideas of how it will take place. It's going to happen, but how? Now we got to figure out the how. I think God's already told us that it's going to happen. Christ is coming, not a battle, but to judge. He's already come in the flesh, John 1, 1 and 14. He is an individual that is like a thief in the night, not in general battle, or not a general in battle. They have sneak attacks in wars, but at the time that what was being written, they weren't known yet for the type of prowess and sneaking up on the enemy as we've become in modern-day war. We could fly a plane over an individual and drop a bomb on that individual's place where they're located, and guess what? We didn't even have to go and fight them. We just fly by. That's not when Christ was saying a lot of this stuff. It's not possible to then look at all of this and think that Jesus is talking about some type of mission. That brings me to another point. What weaponry will we use?
Nukes. Obviously.
How would that happen?
How much airspace is there in the Valley
Because
of Megiddo?
you're going to have individuals, the raptured and the righteous are fighting this battle. That's the depiction. Moses, Joshua.
I'm a
Caleb?
little worried because all the giants in the Old Testament. I'm concerned about that.
To be quite fair, that is a consideration of, yes, God can defeat them. That's not obviously, we're not saying we're literally
Exactly.
worried, but how do you tell Moses, all right, press this button? Because and how do you hand a sword and a spear to one of our military, soldiers and say, good luck? This is too complex. And perhaps it's becoming too complex because it's not sensational enough in our minds. That doesn't need to be sensational enough for me. It's sensational enough the way God wrote it.
That's right.
The sensation is found in the fact that we are redeemed people by God. Anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, there's just a couple of points that I think are important to make. The Bible tells us that our battle is not against flesh and blood, that it's against spirit, that it's spiritual warfare. We don't find any other mention of a physical fight.
Right.
In the book of Jude, we see the devil contending in an argument, not with God, but with an angel. The premise of a battle, in which the devil and his forces might be able to compete, just simply doesn't exist. It wouldn't matter if God had an entire army or if he was by himself. It wouldn't be a battle. It would be a squashing. I don't think that's a real word either.
Sure.
But it would be an extremely decisive victory for God.
There's nothing else I can say. It's so simple. It just is. Go ahead.
There was a battle that took place. I think this is talking about a real thing.
Sure.
Now, one specific battle at the end of time? No. But again, first century Christians living in Asia Minor, facing persecution at the hands of the Roman government, could it be that this battle is talking about the fall of Rome? The end of Rome as a world power, as an empire? I mean, that certainly seems to be how it's set up in the context, rather than one be-all, end-all battle saying, hey, the enemy is going to be defeated. And in the context of the book of Revelation, who's the enemy? Rome.
Bradley, thanks for being with us. I think that the great points. It's certainly something we're looking toward and trying to keep our minds on straight when we look at context versus inferring and inserting into the text. And so thank you for being with us. Thank you for our listeners, our watchers, viewers. I always say watchers, it's viewers. I appreciate you very much. We'll be back next week, Lord willing, with another episode of the Far Better Podcast where we'll study Revelation 20. Thank you.